Mr. I am not a cook beats the king of rock and roll. Elvis and Nixon, directed by Eliza Johnson, starring Michael Shannon as the king of rock and roll himself, Elvis Presley, and Kevin Spacey from House of Cards as President Richard Nixon. This movie is about a photograph that was taken of Elvis Presley and Richard Nixon and the story behind that photograph. The plot of this movie is Elvis Presley in the 1970s is seeing the youth of the time period protesting the Vietnam War, getting high on drugs, and that they're becoming communist. So he wants to do something about this. He wants to visit the President of the United States at the time, Richard Nixon, and become an FBI agent, which is a ridiculous and silly idea. The king of rock and roll becoming an FBI agent to go after communist threats. It's ridiculous but funny too, and I really like that this movie doesn't play this to be serious. They play it to be funny, and it's really hilarious, the banter between Michael Shannon and Kevin Spacey. They are really very funny together, and they really play the roles very well. Michael Shannon plays Elvis Presley to be a guy that really doesn't know how the world works. He really doesn't understand that you can't just go up to the White House to meet the President of the United States so easily. You have to go through certain channels. Can't send a letter to the President of the United States and expect that maybe he's going to read it. The President gets a lot of letters, and not all of them get read by the President. He doesn't understand when he is actually able to go meet the President that he can't bring a gun into the White House. Yeah, he actually tries to bring a gun into the White House, which is insane. You actually think you're gonna get a gun into the White House with the way the Secret Service is? They're gonna go, of course they go nuts when they see him try to bring a gun into the White House. He's bringing a gun in to give to the President as a gift. That part is hilarious, the way he does that. It's just pretty funny that he thinks he can actually get this gun through security and gun into the White House, and that the security's not going to go nuts about this. When he's meeting the President of the United States, who's played by Kevin Spacey, the White House employees played by Colin Hanks and Evan Peters, Colin Hanks from NCIS and Evan Peters from the X-Men films. They're telling him how he should act and what he should do, what he should not do when he's with the President of the United States. Don't eat any of the M&Ms from the M&M bowl because those are for the President. Don't drink from the Dr. Pepper that is being put out there because that's for the President too. And of course he breaks both of those rules, which is hilarious. And Richard Nixon just going along with this and asking for another bottle of Dr. Pepper and maybe a little bit more M&Ms, and it's just hilarious. The other two supporting actors in this film, we got Alex Petrifor and Johnny Knoxville playing employees of Elvis Presley, and they're very good. Alex Petrifor is very good in the movie. I really did like his performance. I usually don't see him much of an actor, but this movie, probably his best acting. But Johnny Knoxville, he doesn't really do anything in this movie. He's just standing there in an Elvis Presley wig, doing nothing really, and you could have gotten anybody to play that role. Now, as far as our two leads, Michael Shannon and Kevin Spacey, they're awesome in this movie. Michael Shannon does a really good job playing Elvis Presley, and Kevin Spacey has got to be the best actor I've ever seen to play President Richard Nixon. I've seen two other actors play Richard Nixon, the guy from Frost and Nixon, and Anthony Hopkins, who played Richard Nixon in a Nixon biopic. And both of those actors played the role of Richard Nixon very well, but Kevin Spacey does the role the best in my opinion. He really has the mannerisms of Richard Nixon down pat. He has the look, and I really liked the way the Nixon haircut looks on him and the makeup. It's just uncanny how well he feels like Richard Nixon. The comedy that goes on between these two is hilarious. I really like Elvis Presley's bringing up his karate. It's just funny. But the flaws of this movie is that there's really nothing more to this movie than just Elvis Presley trying to meet Richard Nixon and trying to become an FBI agent. There's nothing more to the plot after that, and I was a little disappointed with that. I thought there was going to be a little bit more to that. But I really did like this movie despite that. So overall, I'm going to give this movie a B-. It's a really good film, and I think it is worth seeing in the theater as a matinee, but I don't really think it is a must-see film. I think if you want to wait until it comes out on Redbox or Netflix, that wouldn't be too bad of an idea either. I mean, there are other films out that are really good, like Captain America Civil War. But this is a pretty good movie that it does a great job creating the feel of the 1970s, and the performances in the movie is really good. So check it out. And that's all I gotta say for Elvis and Nixon.